sir.
Good. Is there
How
anyone
are you?
comment section?
Sorry.
Anyone has joined yet? Because I can't see anything.
नो आपको मैं बता दे रहा हूँ नीचे में ना आपको कमेंट्स दिखेंगे सारे ठीक है ऊपर में एक पर्सन का एक लोगो जैसा बना होगा वहां पे 1 2 ऐसे करके लिखा हुआ आ रहा होगा आपका
Okay. Okay.
हाँ तो
हाँ,
बेसिकली वहां
ठीक
पे
है।
दिख जाएगा कि जितने लोग ज्वाइंट है और बाकी नीचे अगर किन्हीं का कमेंट्स आएगा तो वो हम दोनों को दिखेगा सो दिस इज हाउ द लाइव सेशन गोज ओके
ओके। ओके।
ओके तो कैसे हो आप
मैं ठीक हूँ। हाउ आर यू डूइंग?
मैं भी बहुत बढ़िया हूँ आज तो संडे है ना तो रेस्ट है कुछ और लोगों को आने देते हैं अभी तो एक ही लोग आए तो उसके बाद फिर थोड़ा अच्छे से शुरू करते हैं क्या
ठीक है। यस। श्योर।
ठीक है अभी तो कोई एक ही लोग देख रहे हैं बस सो हेलो टू दैट वन पर्सन कैसा रहा आपका दिन आज आप अभी वहां पे यूके में तो शायद 9 बजे होंगे ना
हाँ, 9:30। तो हाँ, मैं अभी मतलब थोड़ी पहले उठा था, जस्ट फ्रेशन अप हो गया और
हम्म,
ज्वाइन। अभी आज
आज
का
का क्या
दिन तो
प्लान है
लाइक
आपका
आई डोंट हैव एनीथिंग टू डू फॉर टुडे, प्रीटी मच फ्री। सो
यू आर
या
फ्री
जस्ट
टुडे
या टुडे आई एम फ्री। Just started
ओके
working recently, so yeah, will be joining full time from next month. So really excited for that, and yeah, it's good to just finish the masters. So much free time on hand. Otherwise, you're just always thinking about like the next assignment that needs to be submitted and things like that.
सो आई एम रियली हैप्पी फॉर यू एटलीस्ट नाउ कि हाँ आपका प्रेशर थोड़ा रिलीज हुआ अभी बाकी कविता नटकर्णी सेज हाय आई डोंट नो
That's
हु
my
शी
man.
इज ओके हेलो आंटी
Yeah,
नमस्ते
small viewer base.
Yeah. Maybe if you can use your earphone, you should use your earphone actually. तो थोड़ा क्रिस्प आ रहा है आएगा ऑडियो
Okay,
मुझे लगा
ठीक
था
है।
कि ऑडियो क्लियर है बट थोड़ा क्रिस्प नहीं है you can you can do the you can just exit right now and just come back again through the same link that I've shared on your WhatsApp. You will be rejoined again. There's no issue in that. सो टिल देन लेट मी टेल यू गाइस समथिंग कि आज हम लोग बात करने जा रहे हैं बेसिकली एक रोड मैप के बारे में कि यूके जिन लोगों को इंटरेस्ट है हेलो सर यू केम बैक सो आई वाज टॉकिंग टू द ऑडियंस सेइंग कि हाँ आज क्या डिस्कस होने वाला है तो बेसिकली आज हम लोगों के साथ हैं अदीप नटकर्णी और ए के मूवमेंट साइंस और मेरे ख्याल से सभी को पता होगा सर का चैनल अगर आप लोगों ने सब्सक्राइब नहीं करा है तो कैप्शन में है दिया हुआ जाकर के सब्सक्राइब करो हालांकि सर मुझे नहीं लगता मुझे लगता है कि पूरे इंडिया के लोग जो भी फिजियोथेरेपी में एडमिशन लेने वाले हैं इवन इन फ्यूचर और अभी ले रहे हैं और मतलब अभी पढ़ रहे हैं वो सारे लोग तो आपको जानते ही होंगे क्योंकि बायोमैकेनिक्स मतलब आपका जो नाम है ना वो एक सिनोनिमसली वो लिया जाता है बायोमैकेनिक्स के
But
साथ सो इट हैज हेल्प्ड अ
all
लॉट
time.
ऑफ स्टूडेंट सॉरी
Uh,
so before we dive in so let me tell a bit about your journey like what sparked your interest in biomechanics and sports medicine and how did that lead to pursuing a master's degree in the UK.
Uh, so for me, I've always liked being outdoors, and sports was a big part. So I always liked playing sports and working out in general. And as I was doing that, I kept getting injured. I
So you should use your
started-
earphone. You should use your, so you should use your earphone. Your voice वो बीच में 2 3 वर्ड एकदम बिल्कुल म्यूट हो जा रहा है. So please do wait for a few seconds. Sir will be right back. Hmm. You are
This is
here?
better.
Yeah, this is actually much better.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so as I was saying, I've always liked being outdoors, playing sports, and as I was doing that, I would keep getting injured now and then, just hurting my elbow, shoulder. I started working out in the gym, even when I used to work out. Again, I kept getting injured, and that really just made me curious what's exactly happening there in the shoulder. Why am I getting injured? And I used to go to these YouTube channels like AthleanX. Do you know about AthleanX?
No, I've never heard of it.
Yeah, it's a really good YouTube channel where he talks about workout forms and things like that. I would ask every physio to watch his channel really. So
What
when I used to,
channel?
it's called Athlean X.
Athlean.
Yeah, yeah, Athlean X is it's a
Okay.
very big and old YouTube channel. So I used to check out his videos and see like why is there uh, how can you fix your wrist pain when you are doing push-ups, or how can you fix elbow pain? And I saw the benefits of doing exercise like rehab exercises very early on when I didn't even know what physio was. And that really sparked my interest and got me thinking, okay, like there is your joints move certain way and things happen. So that got me interested in biomechanics, but I didn't even know it was biomechanics back then. And then I started doing my physiotherapy. Second year, we had biomechanics as the subject, and right from the first lecture itself, I had like a lot of interest in that subject. Would go back, read. I usually don't like to read, but that one book, Cynthia Norkins, I've read it through and through. It's a really good book. So yeah, that's what
Good book,
got
yeah.
me, yeah, just learning about biomechanics and sparked my interest. And again, because I was playing sport, so yeah, just treating athletes and treating population who are active and helping them be active was something I've always liked doing. So that's why sports medicine and biomechanics. Yeah.
And how did that lead to masters in UK?
Masters in UK. I thought like when I was in India, obviously a lot of working hours, and I thought I would like a better work life balance, as well
Mm-hmm.
as just in the UK sports is big, and just abroad they are way ahead of us in physiotherapy. Like they have taken out all the things that don't work, and they really work on things. Continued professional development is big over here. That is like even after you graduate, they still emphasize a lot on that you need to keep learning. Um, so all those things really made me go for UK really. Also, I had this one dream at the back of my mind to be a physio for Chelsea Football Club. Um,
Okay.
Although once I've come here and I worked in football for a little bit. I don't know if I would like to still continue pursuing that dream, but that was also one of the reasons to come to the UK. But I'm still open to it. Maybe not in the short term, but long term. If I start working in football soon, then I'll take that call, but nothing certain. So yeah, those were the reasons really, like bunch of fragmented reasons.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
So I just want to ask you something. Like, what was that one chapter in biomechanics that made you go like, कि यार अब रहने देते हैं, इससे ज्यादा नहीं हो पाएगा, अब वीडियो अब कि
इससे
बहुत ज्यादा
ज्यादा नहीं
मेहनत
हो
लग रहा
पाए.
है. हाँ.
No,
बहुत
I've
टफ था
never
आपके लिए.
felt. Um, I would say I've never found it tough with respect to uh, understanding
Cynthia
the
Norgans.
mechanics, because if
Uh-huh.
I would not understand it, I would just ask someone or figure it out
Mm-hmm.
somehow, and that would always keep me interested. I've never lost interest because it's too complex. Maybe I've lost interest because, like, say for example, when you are learning about biomechanics of the neck, there are just so many muscles that you need to remember.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where I was like, oh, like especially when I'm making a video, because I have to keep dumping information. There is this muscle, this muscle, this muscle, and I'm not really talking about what happens there. It's more about listing down muscles, and I'm not a big fan of memorizing things. So that was one thing probably which made me think, this is a bit boring, because you have to
Yeah,
just
actually.
memorize these muscles. So, mechanics wise, so I've always loved biomechanics because it
Yeah.
is so complex and it explains why things happen and what are the reasons for things that happen. Yeah.
And actually, biomechanics without mechanics is just nothing. So the interesting
What
part
about
is
you?
this mechanics.
What did
About
you
me,
feel
so
really hard?
at first I thought that knee complex was a bit tough because I uploaded 18 videos talking line by line about the Syntheon organs, and that
Yeah.
was a huge gap. Like it took me like 3 months at that time,
Wow.
but it was not tough.
Yeah.
I just felt like कि यार अब कुछ और पे फोकस करते. It was not tough. It was actually very interesting,
Uh,
but वो एक ही
it's
चीज वो,
saturated.
हाँ, तो वो एक एग्जॉस्टिंग हो रहा था मेरे लिए. अभी के डेट में
Hmm.
मैं पोस्टर पे भी वीडियो अपलोड कर रहा हूँ तो मुझे लग रहा है कि यार जल्दी जल्दी खत्म हो, बट वो क्या है कि एक एक चीज, एक एक लाइन बाय लाइन मैं इतना डिटेल अभी कर रहा हूँ कि सारी चीजें समझ में आए, क्योंकि मैं दूसरे को ही नहीं पढ़ा सकता जब, जैसे कि अभी आपने कहा ना कि जब तक वो मुझे नहीं समझ आएगा तो मैं कैसे करूंगा. तो
Yeah.
वही कि
Yeah.
मैं उसको थोड़ा टाइम स्पेंड कर रहा हूँ, बट हाँ इंटरेस्टिंग बहुत ज्यादा है. लाइक आई नेवर गेट बोर्ड. आई जस्ट फील लाइक कि हाँ कभी कभी वो लगता है कि बहुत ज्यादा हो रहा है तो चलो दूसरे पे चले गए, बट इट इज वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग,
Mm.
इट इज वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग. सो
Yeah.
या, so sir, the next question is, so you have done your BPT from India, right, and you have also done your
Yeah.
masters from UK. So what difference do you see in terms of education and exposure and everything?
Um, I would say big difference is with how they learn. Um, I think a part of it is also because I was doing a master's versus I was doing an undergraduation.
Mm-hmm.
But when I was doing my BPT, there was a lot of clinical exposure. And that is true for masters as well as in India. If you're doing masters in India, there's a lot of clinical exposure, which is not there abroad. But then the focus on the research and being critical about what you write, what you read, is to a whole new level, I think, in the UK. So everything you write, you need to reference it. You can't just write, okay, that knee pain hai to icing, so then we'll do icing. You need to write why icing, who said it, like what is the evidence
Okay.
for it. So you need to say everything you write in your assignments, everything you say in your viva. You need to have a backing up of why you are saying this, which article you are referring to, and then that article has to be a good article as well if you want to get good marks, because
Mm-hmm.
they're looking at the level of evidence. If there is a systematic review done, which is a very high evidence, versus like a clinical commentary or some expert advice, then it is lower evidence. So all these things are taken into consideration. So they like masters in the UK, I was all about looking at the right information, finding the right information, and then learning to use that information in your practice. And in India, it was just about yeah, getting all the information possible. Some of it might be outdated, but you just learn literally everything that's out there, kind of, and not really pay so much attention to the criticality, which obviously comes in masters. So yeah, and a lot of clinical exposure in India. The amount of patients I saw in India was just unreal. Like it was a lot of exposure. So that would be a big difference, I would say, between education in India and abroad. So you
And
learn, you go hyper focused. Yeah, yeah,
I
you're
got
saying?
your point. I got your point. I got your
Yeah,
point. Actually, sorry for interrupting. I just saw a
that's fine.
comment, so that's why I was just reading that. I hope Indian physios follow EBP ASAP. MCL. So sir, he's Shivam Sharma. I have done a podcast with him about the
Oh, okay.
evidence-based physiotherapy. Hello, sir. If you're
Yeah,
watching
yeah,
this, yeah, I really hope
yeah.
that too.
It's a tough one. Evidence-based practice is, yeah, really, it's not that easy. And it requires a lot of time. You need to
Mhm.
go check the articles, and then applying that into the practice is, yeah, it's difficult, but yeah, it will be out there soon.
Mhm.
Yeah,
So, what's that one thing that you would like to change about the Indian physiotherapy education? You know, not just one thing. There are
education.
so many fault, but still,
Uh, Education wise, I don't think I'm at that level now to say that okay, I would
as a student,
like to change
you can
things,
say.
because I've seen my faculties, they were so good, and they
Mhm.
designed the program what they designed for us, and with that
Okay.
I'm here. So I think me changing would like I don't think I'm qualified enough right now to change anything. But I think maybe we should focus on more of putting a little bit of common sense, really, because I see a lot of people just trying to fix the pain. Like someone comes to you with back pain, just put IFT tense. But sometimes, if the pain is not too bad, just taking down the history and just seeing what exactly is bothering him, and not just going, okay, this is the problem, this is the solution, rather than looking at the background of it, why it's happening, all those things. um, Looking at those things, emphasizing on that a lot more, I think is important. I'm not saying that it's not happening at all, but I see a lot of physios just practicing that, pain, and just
Mm-hmm.
fix the pain,
It's
rather
true.
than that focusing on why it's happening, what are the factors influencing, and then addressing those factors. So just let's and that is basic your common sense logic, using logic, to rule things out, rule. So it's a very simple, straightforward process, really. But as a physio, when you're learning, there are so many things thrown at you, and it's pretty challenging, I can understand, to use that logic and be confident with that logic. So you just try to pick things up, whatever is working around you, and try to apply those rather than thinking logically. So that part of it comes with practice as well, but just emphasizing it again and again, I think, is important. So yeah, yeah, just logic, just logical thinking is something I think should
Mm.
be emphasized and um, paid attention to. So I think the best word for it will be clinical reasoning. Yeah,
So
reasoning
I've
in the clinic. Yeah.
mm. So I've done a podcast before with Abhijit Minhas sir, and he said the exact same thing. So he's a Canadian-based physiotherapist. He's from India only, but right now he is in
Hmm.
Canada. So he has said the same thing कि वो एक rational mind एक होना बहुत जरूरी है. वो एक तो
Yeah.
डिसीजन मेकिंग और दूसरा वो जो अभी आपने कहा ना कि लॉजिकल थोड़ा सा तो वो सो
Yeah.
इट इज वेरी
Yeah.
ट्रू. So the next question is, sir, like now that you have done your masters from UK, do you think it is important for Indian physios and students who want to pursue their career, uh, in sports physiotherapy by doing masters from abroad
Um,
like UK?
yeah. So straightforward answer for that is obviously no, because there are so many colleges in India
Uh,
who teach good sports physio. Few, I would say, but there are good colleges as well in India.
mm,
Uh, and For me, learning is more about getting the clinical exposure and your willingness to learn. So you can do that even without doing a master's in the first place. So when I finished my undergrad, I worked at a football club for 1 year, and I learned so much there. Like I think that I learned a lot there in just that 1 year, because I was just thrown into that environment and I need to fix people, just learn and help them out. So I just go back online, read books, watch videos, and just learn whatever way possible. So it was a very raw way of learning, but you still have to learn and help out, and it's a pretty good way of learning, I would say. So yeah, like now, like since the whole digitalization has happened, there are so many videos out there where you can just learn about everything. There are so many courses out there. So I myself, like picked up on a bunch of courses and did online like learning. So that way, yeah, just by being in India, you don't even need to do masters first of all, and you can be a really good sports physio. And then, yeah, there are so many colleges in India itself who have pretty good masters program uh, for sports. So yeah, I would say it's definitely not necessary. What UK offers is, because they are so much focused on research, they have a lot of tech. So, for example, if you are doing masters in the UK, and if you want to do like a research in gait biomechanics, they have all the gait lab, biomechanics lab, all the cameras, force plates, everything you need to do that research. Whereas in India, you might not have those in
mm,
all the all the colleges, or
mm,
or if you want
very
to get
true.
in touch with really good physios, and things like that, you can build those connections much easier if you are in a university in the UK. rather than India, it will be tough. So just the environment around you and the facilities you have around you allows you to pursue research in much more depth and build those connections, which is not available. But just to be a sports physio, good for sports physio, I think you have everything in India you need, and you have internet, which is the ultimate thing,
Yeah.
really.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So actually, my next question was ki how does studying in the UK specifically enhance knowledge? So I think you have already answered that question. So if there
yeah.
is
So
anything
really,
left,
two
you can just
things.
yeah.
I mean, I would like to summarize. I think two things: enhance knowledge because you have these professors who are like hyper focused in that one area. So just talking to them and interacting with them opens up so much of information, and yeah, you can learn so much from them. And the second thing was being critical. I think that's the biggest thing probably I've learned from doing my master's, being critical about the information that you're reading and criticizing it. So, for example, in India, I would have when I used to before doing my master's, if I want to find out something, I would have just gone online, picked up some information, and I would have believed it. But now before I read it, I there is always that question: how reliable this is, how valid this is,
Mhm.
before I believe it and apply it. So really criticizing that information. That's what masters teaches. Really, it's just not in the UK. That's all masters is about. Just being critical with what you read, what you write. So yeah, those are the two things. Really.
Okay. So now I would like to talk about the college admission and all. ठीक है मास्टर्स के लिए ही यूके से अगर करना हो तो सो आई वुड लाइक टू टॉक अबाउट द फर्स्ट स्टेप दैट यू शुड टेक ठीक है राइट नाउ लेट्स से इफ आई एम बीपीटी ग्रेजुएट ओके सो नाउ
Yeah.
व्हाट आई नीड टू डू what would be my first step so let's talk stepwise okay so first step then second step
Okay.
third step fourth step and likewise so what would be my
Yeah.
first step
So I would say the first step is probably the hardest. That is finding out what you want to do, and that's
okay
something you'll have to figure out for yourself. What masters you want to do, and it has to be very hyper focused, and you need to know what exactly you want. Once you have
so
that figured out,
what options are
yeah.
available what options are
So
available
like So there is masters in there is sports medicine. Then there is
okay
exercise and sports science if you go in
okay
sports. So I'm just talking about more of the sports because that's my
uh-huh.
area really, sports and
Yeah.
orthopedic. Um,
Mhm.
then you can go into MSc in biomechanics or sports biomechanics.
Okay.
Yeah, neuromuscular control. So then there are so some of the courses, although they are just very broad, sports medicine, they'll have a focused interest like it will have sports psychology as a module or sports nutrition as module. So you can pick the module. So you need to look at the universities and what modules they offer and if they align with your interests because some universities might have sports biomechanics but they might not have say for example uh, they might not have nutrition, but if you are someone who want to go into nutrition as well, just learn a little bit more about it. So you need to know what are your interests, list them down, and then see which universities offer it to you, and that it makes it so much easier because you can rule out all the universities which don't offer that. And then once you have that, then the next thing would be eligibility criteria. So there
So
is like,
let's go slow. Let's just break it down. So
yeah.
let's talk about what you have done. Okay. So
Hmm.
what have you done? Like which masters have you done from
So it's
UK?
masters in sports medicine
Okay. So
at
masters in
University
sports
of
medicine.
Birmingham. Yeah,
Okay. So from the
yeah,
University of Birmingham. So let's say I also want to do masters in sports medicine. Okay. So
yeah.
now that I figured it out, now how would I, go for which university offers that course? Like from the Google, or is there any specific site available for that or anything else?
Um, yeah, just probably just go for Google. I wouldn't rely on any site. Just Google and
Hmm.
see which universities offer it. Talk to your colleagues, check out on LinkedIn, see what your seniors are doing, get in touch with them and ask them what they know. Because once I come here, then I found out about other universities that offer different courses and things like that. There is University of Nottingham, which also does a sports medicine course. Um, yeah, University of Cardiff, then Bath, Sheffield. So there are like bunch of universities. Liverpool is a very good university as well for sports. So yeah, different universities have different modules. So just talking to a lot of people on LinkedIn and connecting with them, and just doing your own organic search, those
Okay,
will allow you to
got it.
reach more people. Yeah,
Okay. So now
and
that I have chosen what I need to do and which
mhm,
university I would go for, now
yeah.
the next thing, what would be my next step?
So then you need to look at things like eligibility criteria. So you need IELTS score, that
Okay.
is English exam. You need to look at that, and also there is SOP where you need to explain why you want to learn at this university. You need to take that down. And I think all this process, I mean, IELTS can be done separately, but the process forward from there can be done through like an agency. Like, so for example, there are agencies like IDP, and what they do is they help you out applying to these universities. So
Okay.
yeah, I think you can take help of these universities, of these agencies, really, to push the process forward. Things like applying for visa and all becomes much easier if you are going through an agency, and they don't charge you anything. So that's how I did it.
Okay. So let's talk about this IELTS and SOP. So basically ये IELTS का जो एग्जाम है वो क्या ऑनलाइन अप्लाई होता है या फिर वो कैसे होता है उसका पूरा क्या सिस्टम है उसका?
Yeah, everything is online.
Okay.
So yeah, you can just apply for it online. They'll give you a center at which you can go and answer it. It's an English exam. There's a written
Hmm.
part, listening part, and writing part. You do all three,
So
and yeah, you need
total
to get a
marks,
certain score.
do you remember
So I
that?
think
What's the
highest
passing
is
score?
9. I think highest is 9, and different universities have different minimum scores. Some have like 6.5, 7.5, and you need to get higher than that average score. And yeah, if you pass that, then you are eligible to apply for the university. So yeah,
And what is SOP?
SOP is basically it's where you like you need to like write an assignment where you explain why you want to learn at the university. So
So where all these things happen? Like where do I need
so
to post this assignment?
you write it down by yourself, and then when you are applying in the application process, you'll have a section where you need to provide your SOP, and yeah, that's how. So that's how you'll be kind of shortlisted. Or sometimes there is an exam as well. So again, it really varies from university to university. Sometimes some universities have some basic exam which you need to answer.
Okay. So basically, SOP is all about the assignment that you need to, prepare, and in that assignment you need to write down कि हाँ आपको क्यों करना है ये सारी चीजें, right?
Yeah. Huh.
Okay. Okay. So, what is the eligibility criteria for like general eligibility criteria for
Usually
the
it's I score about 6.5
okay
in
6.5 and
average
above?
score about 6.5, yeah, with no less score than 6 in each of the writing, reading, and speaking. Yeah,
Okay.
and apart from IELTS, yeah, that's the main criteria really. Yeah.
Okay. So apart from that, can you
Apart from
remember
that, I
anything?
would say like if people are going to UK to do masters, I would say they can start the HCPC process as well,
Okay.
because that is a license for you to work in the UK, and if you have that, then like just working, you can work there as a physio, right, as you are studying, which is a big uh, advantage, because if you get a physio job as you are studying there, then you can convert it to a full-time job very easily, or you have some work experience to show, so getting the next job becomes much easier. So I would highly recommend anyone who is doing masters, uh, b- get your HCPC as soon as possible, so that when you are in the UK, rather than working full time, at rather than working part time at a shop or anything, you can work part time at a clinic, which is you'll be getting paid better, and you'll have work experience to apply for your next job, or just convert that same job into a full-time job.
Okay, so HCPC registration is only for working or is it for studying also?
No, it's only for working. Yeah.
Okay. So let's say if I don't want to work there, so I don't
Yeah,
need
then you
HCPC
can.
registration.
Yeah, yeah, then you don't need HCPC.
Okay,
It's an
so I can totally
advantage
skip
too.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah, so it's
yeah, you
basically
can
an
skip that.
advantage.
Yeah,
Yeah, right. Okay.
yeah.
So and where do I need to apply this SCPC?
Everything online. Just there's a website. It's a very huge process. You can probably there are a lot of videos online for that as well at CPC.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, a part of it is IELTS. So you have already given the IELTS for your education, so you don't have to do that again. And then you just need to provide like what you studied in your physio education and things like that, and provide all the documents to them. They go review the documents, and then you have to pay some fees, about 80,000 I think, uh, to get registration, and then you can work as a physio there.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
And
very.
can you remember those documents they ask? Do you remember that?
It's a lot of documents. It starts from like your proof of address all the way up to your
Okay.
birth certificate, everything. Yeah, it's
Okay. So
everything about
it's
you.
yeah,
So yeah,
yeah.
your
Got
address.
it.
Yeah.
Got it. And like कौन से month में admission होता है वो सारी चीजें क्योंकि इंडिया का मे भी वहाँ का
So
सीन अलग हो.
there are two intakes. There is summer intake and winter intake. Summer intake is
Okay.
in September. Winter is in January. So if you are applying for summer intake, then you need to start preparing for all these things in January, February. So now, like January,
Mm.
February, you should start checking all the colleges, everything, and start your application process. You
Okay.
can do it later as well, but then it becomes very hectic. I wouldn't suggest that. I did that and I regret. Yeah, it becomes very hectic.
Okay. So let's say that I only want to study there. Okay. No, I don't want to work there. So I just need my IELTS SOP. Okay.
Hmm.
And then like where do I have to submit all these documents on the university's website
So
or anywhere
yeah,
else?
yeah, university portal. But if you
Okay.
are doing it through the agency, you just need to send it to that agent, and they'll do
Okay.
it for you. Yeah.
So do you remember any agents like where can we contact
IDP,
them?
IDP. There is one which is IDP, which is pretty big. So yeah,
Okay.
uh,
IDP.
my process went pretty smoothly. So yeah, I would suggest them.
Okay, so now this is actually a big question. जो लोग एक्चुअली में कई बार पैसा तो हिंड्रेंस कई बार क्या लाइक पैसा तो हिंड्रेंस है ही कि भाई यूके में पढ़ना तो है बट पता नहीं है कि कितना खर्च आएगा नहीं आएगा. So I would like
Uh,
to talk about the expenses part. So could you just break down all these tuition fees and monthly expense and food
yeah.
and miscellaneous and everything,
Um,
transport?
Yeah, that's a tough one. So it varies a lot, especially first
Mm-hmm.
tuition fees, depending on what colleges you do. So like in UK, there are something called as Russell Group of colleges, and then there are just normal colleges as well. So Russell groups are like more expensive. They are older colleges. They are more known, more prestigious, you can call it. So those are definitely more expensive. So it can vary from 15,000 pounds to 25,000 pounds. So if you convert to
Okay.
Indian rupees, it will be 15 lakhs to 25 lakhs, in that range.
Mm-hmm.
But again, every year the prices keep increasing. So now I think it's probably more like 18 to 30 lakhs. Probably it's going higher and higher every year. So that's the uh, tuition fees. Then
It's every year or
uh,
every 6 month?
I don't know about 6 months. Every year for sure. Every
Okay.
year it keeps increasing every year. Yeah.
So that's
And
25 lakh
then
each year.
sorry, no. I mean, it keeps increasing as in your course fee. So my course was
Okay,
one
so
year, right? So
total.
1 year was 25. Yeah. So that will increase. So
Okay, okay, got
if
it.
it was 15 lakhs last year, that goes up to 18
Mm-hmm.
lakhs, and then again next year it will go even higher. So every year the rates increase, which is happening in
Okay.
India as well. But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
just and then. So that's the tuition fees. Then accommodation would be um, 500 uh, pounds to 800 pounds. That is like 50,000 rupees to 80,000 rupees. And then yeah, food would be 200, somewhere around that. But a lot of this rent and food cost can be covered if you are just working part time there, very easily. You can save up as well a little bit. So yeah, if you do some part time, you can manage. And when you're doing the course over here, it's not too intensive. They don't have a lot of classes, some classes, and then you have a lot of self study time. So if you manage your time well, you have a lot of time in hand to do some part time work and manage your expenses. But very important thing I feel is a lot of people go for these big universities, which is good. But the thing is, there is no relation of your which university you study with the job when you are applying for the job, because when you are applying for the job they won't really look at which university you have done masters from. Rather than that, they'll look at your skill. So UK market is completely skill based. They'll look at your work experience, how you speak, and they'll look at your skill rather than what university you have done masters from, because that will just tell them how good you are academically. But if they are hiring you as a physio, they don't care how good you are at writing assignments and scoring marks. So yeah, that's why I think it's more important to build that work experience. Having good work experience in India will definitely give you edge over physios who have just done their bachelors and come here and applying. And yeah, the job market is like it's tough to it's not that easy to get jobs. I would say in physio and medical sector it's fairly easier compared to other sectors, but for that you need to have good amount of skill so that they can hire you.
Okay. So do you
So
cook
yeah.
food or you just, is there other
Yeah,
options
I
available?
just no, I just cook. I'm pretty much cook all the time. Yeah,
Okay.
so
So how do you even
it's
time manage
almost
time? Like you cook, you manage social media,
it's
and
more social media was dead for 1 year, so yeah,
yeah,
I wouldn't
actually.
say I managed the time well. But yeah, it's like a de-stress for me, cooking.
Hmm.
So yeah, I just distract myself and just I'm into cooking. Yeah, really.
Yeah, so you love
So
cooking.
just yeah. I really enjoy cooking. What about you?
Me
Do
too,
you?
by the way. Yeah, actually, I cook. I can cook literally everything.
Yeah,
Yeah, from
I
fast
can
food to
cook.
homemade food.
Yeah, I don't know if you watch Samay Raina. There was this
Yeah.
one guy. Samay asked him, "What do you cook?" And he says, "Like whatever is there on YouTube." So मेरा भी वही
Okay.
scene है. Whatever is there on
So
YouTube, I can cook.
yeah, actually, और समय रैना का भी वो इंडियाज गॉट लेटेंट अभी बड़ा पॉपुलर हो रहा है ना.
हाँ, yeah, वही
तो
उसमें.
मैंने देखा था. Uh, so,
Yeah,
sir, like, how do you even save money? Like, let's say you are not working. Like, right now, are you working?
yeah, I'm working right now.
So, was there a time when you were not working and still saving some money?
No, then there's no saving. There's just spending money. If you're not working,
Okay.
then yeah, then
Okay.
yeah, whatever savings you have done in the past, and your parents
Mm-hmm.
will parents or loan whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I was fortunate enough that my parents could fund my education. So yeah, just use that to survive here.
Mm-hmm.
And then yeah, once I got job, then it was better. So yeah,
Yeah, okay. I'm really, I'm really, really, really happy for you. And I really wish that you come back stronger and, just post all those videos on the YouTube channel, just like how you used to. So, congratulations, first of all.
thank you
And
so
please
much.
do upload videos because we all were waiting for you since like 9 months or 10 months, probably.
Yeah,
Right?
probably 1 month, 1 year, I think so.
Oh, what, yeah. So,
Yeah.
you haven't said anything about the transportation costs. So, what are those? Can you?
I think about £100. That is
Mhm.
10,000 rupees. Really
Okay.
depends. Like I was very frugal with how much I wanted to spend. So I got a
Okay.
cycle in
Hmm.
first few weeks, and then I was just cycling to the university.
Mm.
So yeah, I managed to save a lot over there. So yeah, if you want to save, you can save a lot by just finding
Mm.
ways to save, getting a
So
cycle.
basically, 500 pounds on rent, 200 pounds on food, 100 pounds
Yeah,
on transportations, and then the rest is on you.
yeah,
How much you spend?
yeah, kind of. Yeah, yeah. Again, depends. The
Got it.
200 will vary really with food depending on
Mm-hmm.
how you choose to spend. Yeah,
Okay. So
but
yeah, yeah, got it. So how
that
is your academic and sorry, you were saying something?
yeah, no, nothing.
Okay. So how has been your like academics and clinical experience been so far in UK?
Clinical experience would say not much because we just had like 1 month internship with a football club.
Mm-hmm.
So I got to work with the athletes over there, under 18s. And I was kind of comparing it to when I worked in India with under 18s. So it was a good contrast to just see because they had so much more facilities and things like that. So building strength with athletes is so much more easier, and they have like a exact routine set up, so yeah, you can work a lot over there with respect to their strength and building good athleticism. Whereas that was not the case over here. So yeah, academics wise, so that was clinical exposure, not a lot, just working with athletes really just for 1 month. Whereas in India, you're just flooded with patients and you can learn so much more. So that was my clinical exposure, and then academics wise, yeah, completely different. I mean, to begin with, in India, I didn't have a very uh, 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 a lot of like research driven program really, because it was undergrad. We just had research in that final few years, right? So there, I didn't like my master's, like my what do you call it, thesis, wasn't something I wanted to do, and it was assigned to me. So I just did it because I had to do it, and I didn't learn so much. But over here, I had to do everything by myself. There was a guide who was helping us out, but yeah, a lot of referencing. You learn referencing properly, and um, and then just a lot of reading. Just I don't think I've read so much in my life that I did in master. So yeah, you just need to read a lot and write a lot. So if you are someone who does not like to do that, maybe you want to reconsider, because there's a lot of reading and writing that you need to do, um, especially for research when you're writing the research. Yeah, so yeah, that master's thesis is a big one, and they are very strict with marking. So you really need to write very well to get good marks. So yeah, it's tough. I would say academics was the probably the toughest for me.
Mhm. Okay. So, what do they teach more, like from the books or from the articles? From where do they
Yeah,
teach more?
so classes, academics wise, classes are. So there are like new guest lecturers who come and teach like certain topics, and yeah, there
Hmm.
is no reference books. They
Okay.
just like how we write our assignments, we say something and then we reference an article. Same way when they are
Hmm.
teaching, they'll say something when they're teaching and then they'll reference an article. Towards the end, they'll give a
Hmm.
bunch of articles that they have referenced. You go read them and learn from articles and papers rather than books. So yeah, I don't think I learned anything from books throughout my masters. It was all papers, just reading papers and learning from the papers. And there are really good papers out there, and I realized how much information is out there. If you just access all these good quality papers, you can learn a lot from them, which I hadn't done enough when I had finished my undergrad. So yeah, I would highly encourage everyone to just check out some good authors, follow them, and just follow them on Twitter and Instagram, and look at the work that they are doing, and it's really good. It's amazing how much information is out there and how much you can apply into your practice.
So, can you name few of them, the
Um,
authors or writers?
one of one of my favorite would be Matt Tabner. He has
Okay.
this paper on control chaos continuum, where he talks about how to get athlete from like injury to like a complete return to sport, and that
What
paper is just amazing. So like to
what
give
was
you
the
a
name?
just Matt Tabner, MAT,
Matt Tabner.
yeah,
Okay,
Tabner,
right. I've noted it down.
TABERNER, yeah.
Yeah, I will just
So like
work
one
on
of
it.
the examples I would give you would be like we had Viva, where
Okay.
oral examination, right? So
Mm-hmm.
the assignment was basically you need to think of a ACL case, and you need to get him from like uh, first day of injury all the way to return to sport, and you need to write his whole return to sport program, and it's a viva. So you tell them, okay, first day what I'll do, like post surgery, you do icing, then some static quadriceps, then week two I'll start some mini squats, things like that. And everything you say, you need to reference it with some article, like okay, this, then why did you do this? And yeah, Matt Abner has a really good paper which explains this whole process. And again, he references everything because he has written it, the paper. So a really good paper. Um, yeah, so things like that. And that one paper will give you a reference to so many more articles because he will reference something. If he says that, okay, I'll start plyometric at this month, then he will reference it, and then you can go check out that paper. So that way you can just by reading one good paper, you can find so many other good papers and just like expand your knowledge. So
Okay,
yeah, that
got it.
that was the big difference. Yeah.
So I'm sorry to ask you this question, actually, the next one. I already know the answer, but I would like you to answer. Okay. So is biomechanics incorporated into clinicals, research, or academics modules there?
Uh,
Obviously, it is like, but still,
yeah,
I
yeah,
just want you to elaborate.
yeah. It is, yeah, but how it is
Hmm.
incorporated would be,
Hmm.
yeah, a good question, I guess. Yeah, it is
Yeah.
incorporated. So, like, if I had to give you example, assessment, for example.
Hmm.
Um, Now, if there is a runner who has had like shin splints, okay, and he's going back to
Okay.
running. Now, what would you do? Usually, you would check his calf strength, hamstring strength, quad strength, and probably his ability to uh, absorb the forces and produce the forces when he's running. So you would do some squat jumps and single leg hopping and things like that. You look at these factors and see how smooth those things are looking, and then accordingly do return to sport. So for us, when we were doing the masters, we had like certain uh, we had a sports assessment where we were taught how to use like dynamometers with exact data, then force plates, using force plates, then also gait biomechanics, not gait, just biomechanics lab, and how you would test for uh, that plyometric ability, how quickly they are able to generate that force and and produce that force quickly. So like things like rate of uh, force development and reactive strength index, basically like how quickly the muscle can contract, go into concentric and eccentric contraction, produce that force, and with how less of a ground contact time. That tells you about the plyometric ability of the muscle. And this is pure biomechanics, right? So you take those principles of biomechanics, apply it clinically, and see, okay, they need to hit these numbers before they can go running return to running. So things like that. Usually you would just eyeball it. Okay, if he's jumping and if it's looking good enough, the jumps, you would send them. But you can really take these principles and see, okay, what exact number they want to hit, and be more objective with these findings. So yeah, that's a big one.
Got it. Got it.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, actually, it
Yeah.
totally makes sense. And yeah. So the next question, I've already asked it, but still, if you want to share some points on it, so you are totally welcome. So how would you compare your experience in the UK studying to India, particularly in terms of research? You have already answered that clinical exposure and the depth of biomechanics. So that depth of biomechanics, I would like to know more.
I think it's
Uh,
not fair to compare that because I was doing masters here and I was doing undergrad there. So in
hmm,
undergraduation, they just want you to learn the basics
yeah,
first, right? So yeah, I did not
yeah.
compare, like I did not learn depths of biomechanics when I was in India. But I studied in Manipal, and we had like a gate lab there, and I've spoken to the teachers there. I've actually also made a video on that, short one,
Hmm.
but just exploring. So I'm sure like they had the facilities and things like that. It was more about diabetic foot and how the gait is altered in diabetic foot. A lot of extensive research was going on in Manipal with that aspect. But yeah, we have it's not all the universities, but universities which are popular, they have all the things they need, and research is going on in India as well. But yeah, obviously in the UK, because they started it earlier, they are, yeah, quite ahead in the sense. But I think if you want a very specific focus, I'm sure you can find it somewhere in India. Yeah, really.
Got it. Actually, you know what? Right now, I'm thinking that I would love to talk about certain cases that have explored in UK.
Yeah.
In the live session only, if you are up for it. You know, so it will be very
Uh,
helpful for students as well, if you can. I mean, totally up to you.
yeah, we can certainly we can do it in future. You mean,
Yeah,
right? Yeah,
yeah,
we can. Yeah, we can discuss like cases and things like that.
yeah.
That would be
So
interesting.
it will be interesting, and it will give a new perspective also कि सोचना कैसा
Yeah,
है, the one you said ना लॉजिकल थिंकिंग एंड ऑल, तो वो जो
yeah,
डिफरेंसेस जो
yeah,
लोगों को लगता है कि हाँ वो यूके में शायद ये चीजें बढ़िया हो या वो चीजें अच्छी हो, इंडिया में ये नहीं है या वो नहीं है, तो मे बी वो एक थोड़ा पर्सपेक्टिव भी खुले कि ओके टू लुक एट थिंग्स इन अ न्यू वे, सो
yeah,
लाइक
yeah.
दैट.
I think exercise prescriptor is doing a great job with that. Like
आई
his
फॉलो हिम.
content, yeah, is amazing. I think he's right on point there. And yeah, we need more content like that just to change the whole perception of physio. It's just not focusing on
आई
pain,
समटाइम्स
but
वॉच हिम
it's
ऑन यूट्यूब.
actually understanding. Yeah, yeah, he got a recent podcast as well, which was really cool. So yeah, it's just not focusing on pain, rather than that, just focusing on the background, what goes behind in the body, and fixing that or making it better in some way. Yeah,
I would love to invite him on this live session, and let's like
yeah,
hope so. Touch wood, no,
yeah.
maybe one day I'll just invite him. I have actually talked to him once, but
Okay.
he was very busy at that time, so we couldn't make
Yeah,
up. But let's see in future if I can invite him here, and that
yeah,
would be a very big day for me. So
yeah,
yeah, but hope so.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
just two questions left. Second last actually, is that what are the key advantages of pursuing a master's degree from the UK?
I see it as a, I think biggest advantage is probably, I see it as a pathway to come to the UK.
Mm.
Otherwise, it's tough. So if you want to live here, experience different culture, and also have a better pay, then probably the best way to do it is through this route. Otherwise, you can just apply for HCPC and then come directly. But it's much harder now, because they already have so many physios who have done masters in the UK, and they are applying for jobs. So they rather choose someone over here rather than this. And also, very big thing, after you do your masters in the UK, if you want to work in UK, either someone sponsors you directly, but if someone does not sponsor you, you need to get a visa. It's called a PSW, that is post
Okay.
study work visa. No one told me about this
Mhm.
when I was doing masters. So
Okay.
that PSW will cost you about 3 lakhs extra,
Okay.
additional 3 lakhs. So you need to spend that and then apply for jobs. So it's a very important thing for everyone to know. No one speaks
Uh,
about it somehow. I don't know why. So
so, if it is
so yeah,
that
you do
important,
your
why
master.
nobody mentions it?
I seriously don't know why. So yeah, so if
And
you, so basically the PSW is your, it allows you to stay in the UK for 2 years after you have finished your masters. And if you want to get that PSW, you need to pay about 2 to 3 lakhs to get that. Yeah, so that's something you should consider when you are considering costs of everything. I mean, you can save it up as you are working here and things like that, but something everyone should know.
so,
Yeah, so
sorry,
yeah,
please
yeah,
continue.
go for it.
Okay.
No, it's
So, let's say that I took an admission there, तो
mhm.
कुछ एक सर्टेन क्राइटेरिया होगा ना या टाइम ऐसा होता होगा ना कि दैट यू कैन वर्क ओनली दीज आवर्स लाइक अप टू 10 hours or 40 hours whatever in a week or something,
Yeah,
so is there
yeah,
any
40
criteria?
hours per week. Yeah,
40
you
hours.
can work for 40 hours. Yeah, which
So
is,
I
yeah,
would need an
decent enough.
SCPC.
Yeah, yeah. If you want to work as a physio, you need HCPC for sure. Yeah,
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
So, and that's the maximum you can work, like 40 hours in a week.
yeah, per week. Yeah, that is when you have off. But if you are if you're like when you are studying, when you have classes going on, it's 20 hours, and only when you have like holidays, Christmas holidays, then it's 40 hours. Yeah.
Okay,
No,
that's
actually,
great.
yeah, 40 hours, correct.
Okay. So then the holiday should last for at least a week or a month, na? Then only you can work like 40 hours a week.
Yeah, it does last for a yeah month, kind of almost a month. Yeah.
Okay. So actually, the last question, it's not more of a question, it's more of a request actually. So I would, ask you, okay, what can you advise the young physios to enhance their knowledge
I
in
would say,
biomechanics and in sports medicine? Yeah,
yeah, I think what I've learned from masters is keeping things simple. So just really keep things plain and simple. Focus on basics, working biomechanics, anatomy, physiology, exercise physiology. These topics will build a really good foundation, and that will allow you to do clinical reasoning, because if you don't know what the elbow joint looks like, you can't think. So if you
exactly.
focus on these foundations, really, that will allow you to do clinical reasoning. So yeah, just focus on these basics first and second year. That's what they teach you, and if you have these things in place, you can always learn about different treatments and how to approach things always, because then you have this foundation set, so you can build on it very easily later on. So keep focus on the basics and just keep it simple. It's always simple. You don't have to make it complex. So
This
yeah,
is what I say to all my juniors who come to me for a doubt in biomechanics, that please go and read anatomy and try to, imagine those
yeah,
joints कि हाँ, and try to feel it, जब तक वो
yeah,
पिक्चर वो दिमाग में जब तक वो नहीं आएगा तब तक वो चीजें समझ में नहीं आएंगी, चाहे आप कितना भी कोशिश क्यों ना करो, फिर अल्टीमेटली यू हैव टू कि रट्टा मार रहे हैं बैठ करके, देयर इज नो अदर ऑप्शन लेफ्ट. सो दिस
exactly.
वन थिंग
That's
दैट
why
यू हैव सेड
that's
ना.
the yeah,
या
that's the whole point of starting movement science as well. Like just that goal to get the biomechanics simplified. Just keep it simple. Yeah,
Yeah, a physio with a paintbrush.
yeah.
I saw this. But you did a great job. You actually you deserve it.
Thank you so
Right
much.
now,
Thank
what?
you so much.
So yeah, this is the end of the live session. Uh,
Yeah,
sir,
it was really nice um, uh, live session. Really enjoyed it. Thank you so much for your time. And yeah, I hope you progress well with your channel as well. Just
thank you so
I
much, sir.
remember last time we spoke, you had just like 1K, and you've definitely
Mm.
grown since then. So yeah, definitely on the right track. Just keep doing these, and yeah, I'm sure you'll be there.
Thank you so much, sir. It means a lot. It means a lot. Thank you so much. And the last comment, please read the last comment. It's for you.
So I'm not very. Oh, it's kudos to Adhip. Yeah, that's the one, right? Yeah.
Yep.
Yes.
And Srijanya
Thank you
Rajesh,
so
he
much.
said that
Yeah,
that's true. The
that's
patient exposure is great in India
yeah,
during masters. We still have a long way to go in terms of implementing everything perspective. Very true.
yeah. She's my friend from undergrad. So yeah,
Okay.
just joining in to
So
watch. Best friend. Yeah.
wow. So you have a
Okay.
great day ahead. Thank you so much, sir, for your time
Yes. Thank you
and
so much.
for the knowledge you shared. And let's end this podcast. Thank you, sir. You're most welcome.
Thank you
जाके
so
कहीं पे
much.
आप.
Yeah.
Okay. So bye bye, sir.
Have a
Have a
nice
great
day.
day.
Bye.
Okay.
Yep.
Bye bye. Bye bye.